Welcome to the Best Team Wins podcast with Adam Robinson. He's talking to today's industry leaders and entrepreneurs about the people side of their business.
Welcome to the Best Team Wins podcast, where we feature entrepreneurs and business leaders whose exceptional approach to the people side of their business has led to incredible results. My name is Adam Robinson, and for the next 25 minutes, I'll be your host as we explore how to build your business through better hiring. Today on the program, Amy Friedrich is the president, the U.S. Insurance Solutions Group at Principal Financial, headquartered in Des Moines, Iowa. The company was founded in 1879, so not quite a startup. 15,000 employees worldwide, and they work with 140,000 small and mid-sized businesses in the U.S. on a variety of products related to employees and benefits and building great teams. With that breadth of perspective, we have a lot to learn today, and we are so excited, Amy, to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This will be fun.
So I saw that Principal is ranked number one on Forbes list of America's best employers for women.
You got it. Yeah. And as one of those executive women kind of leading the charge, owning a profit and loss piece of the business and responsible for hundreds, if not thousands of the women who work for Principal, I take huge pride in that recognition.
I can imagine. So we'll start with that. But before we jump into that, set the stage for our listeners, because it's not often we have the privilege of talking with someone running an organization of your size. And so give us 30 seconds on Principal Financial, and then perhaps a few more moments about your role in that operation.
You bet. So Principal is a financial services company. So when you say that, think more of like it's going to be retirement and savings and insurance and protection. But where we've really carved out a niche is that we help small business owners almost more than any other financial services companies does. So when we think of who we're helping, who we're talking to about products that can help themselves and their employees, we're talking to a business owner who probably on average has about a total company of maybe 35 people that they employ. So they've got 35, maybe 40 employees, and they're making decisions for themselves as, a person who needs to protect and save and retire, as well as decisions for their employees. So the business that I specifically am responsible for at Principal is the business that is all of the protection products. So anything that has to do with an insurance product, something that's going to either help them take care of an immediate need like dental insurance or a long-term need like long-term disability or life insurance, those are my responsibilities at Principal. I have responsibility for about 3,500 of Principal's 15,000 employees.
Wow. Okay. And if listeners want to learn more, what's the best way for them to do that?
I have a nice presence on LinkedIn. So I'm at Amy Friedrich. It's spelled Friedrich at principal.com. And then you can go to principal.com, the website, PRNCIPAL.com, and find out more information.
You mentioned LinkedIn, and you do have quite the presence. You wrote on LinkedIn about ways small business owners can keep top talent. Give us some of the wisdom you shared in that article.
Sure. I think, one of the things that you're always looking at, like, where the grass is greener. And as someone who can't personally get to every single one of my employees and have a conversation with them about what really matters to them in terms of savings and protection, I'm always really jealous of small business owners because they can get to know, if you employ 15 or 20 or 25 people, you can literally have a conversation with every single one of them and then craft sort of benefits and rewards packages that meet their specific needs. So one of the things I always say to small business owners is, man, use the flexibility you have to know everybody. Ask them what matters. If it's something like pet insurance, try to do what you can to get them things like pet insurance. If it's that it really matters to them to have a place where they can bring their bicycle in and have a storage, do that. It doesn't have to be huge sweeping benefit changes. It's just knowing what your employees care about. If it's elder care, if they've got aging parents that they wish they had better access to, and then if you're working with a really great financial partner like Principal, they'll be able to get you to the right places, even if they don't happen to sell or manufacture that product.
Let's get back to the Forbes article, because this is or designation is number one best employer for women. We're talking about ways small business owners can keep top talent. These things are very closely related. Talk about the approach your organization takes to making sure everyone feels welcome and empowered to be their best.
Yeah, I think one of the things Principal does really well is they just meet people where they are. Um, I I don't talk at work much about being a female. I talk a lot at work, though, about where I have characteristics that are complementary to other people. So when I can do something that's, storytelling, or I can do something that gets to, handling maybe an emotional or conflict ridden piece of the conversation better than other people do, then what Principal does is they ask me to lean on that talent. So Principal's really good at sort of looking past I would say just the broader markers of differences, maybe gender, race, ethnicity, and just saying, okay, who's kind of who's you at work, and then let's take advantage of those places where you're just really good. And so I think that's what makes Principal different. We're not a huge ego company. We tend to sort of lead with kind of a series of nice, humble personalities. And what it means is that you get to feel really great about the contribution you're making, a lot of times without any ego in the way. And I think it really helps.
Certainly. And it certainly helps in your role as a leader, I am sure, having that type of a culture. So I want to talk for a second about leadership. I mean, you studied organizational communication, and you've worked in change management, and you're now looking at a 3,500 employee organization, and certainly you're not leading that by yourself. Uh, what have you learned from experience in terms of what it takes to lead an organization of that size? And how are you empowering leaders of leaders in your organization to help you carry that message?
Right. I think one of the beliefs that's carried through business that I think is just false is that the hard stuff is the technical stuff. So like, math is the hard stuff, corporate finance are the hard things that, learning this program or this spreadsheet or this technical aspect of the business is the hardest thing you'll do. I'm a big believer that, math is easy and humans are hard. I think
Yeah.
if we spent half as much time planning for how we're going to have a conversation, how we're going to tell a story, how we're going to get the type of followership we want to have, if we spent half as much time on those things as we do on the technical aspects of our business, crafting through a spreadsheet and making sure you've peer reviewed the actuarial tables, that is important work to do, and it's foundational work to do. But in the end, it is just a small part of what makes a true leader. What makes a leader is who follows you and why they follow you. So that's one of the things I say all the time is I think every leader should understand that leadership is defined by followership. And again, I'm not the first person to say that. I understand that lots of other, smarter people than me have pointed that out. But in the end, it's knowing who follows you and why do they follow you. That is a huge part of the discussion I have with every leader I come into contact with.
So for a new leader, learning the skill of recognizing followership and why people would want to follow them. What do you teach? What is the awareness required in order to know the answers to that question?
I one of the things that I lean on heavily is that if you are waiting for the next promotion, if you're waiting for your title to kind of give you the type of respect and trust you've always wanted, then you're thinking about it exactly the wrong way. It is not a promotion that is going to give you the ability to be a leader. The ability to be a leader is going to come from understanding the work that people are doing and giving people a sense of that the work that you've asked them to participate in doing together is meaningful. So one of the foundational pieces of that followership is don't worry so much about title and pay and those technical things. Worry more about, do people feel like the work they're doing matters? Like there's a lot of people in insurance who's kind of like, oh, insurance is boring and insurance is not that interesting. I think insurance changes the world. You're there for people when the worst things possibly are happening to them. And so being there for them, making sure they've got the protection they need, that there's life insurance, that there's disability insurance, it's like a higher calling. And so my biggest task with leaders is kind of helping them understand, find the work that matters, find that place within you that feels like you're making a contribution, and you'll have people giving discretionary effort, not because you asked them to, but because they wanted to.
That's great. Well said, and I appreciate looking at insurance in that light. It is absolutely true that insurance, when needed, it makes a big difference. Tell me about your leadership team.
Sure. It's a collection of kind of experts. So it's the leaders in the business who are going to be like the CEO, the CFO of the insurance business. So kind of the chief financial officer. Then there's going to be the chief technology or information systems person. Then I have some folks who own product accountabilities. I have someone who's the head of all of the sales and distribution functions. So it's a really diverse team in terms of skills. It's also a diverse team in terms of some backgrounds and gender. And so I would say my leadership team is made up of a bunch of experts that we've kind of had to find enough common ground to learn to, if not love each other, to really like each other. And that's been a fun journey.
And what do you think the biggest challenge has been for the team functioning together to drive the organization forward? What's the one thing that stands out as either learning or skill development that you've had to push through in order to get where you wanted to go?
I feel like I can almost come back to the meeting. I can almost come back to the moment when we became a team. And that is when we made a commitment together to assume that no matter where someone was coming from, what they were saying, what they were suggesting, we were going to assume good intent. We were not going to be suspicious of each other's ideas. We were not going to head first to being critical. We were going to assume good intent. We were going to assume that everyone's ideas were brought forward to make Principal better, to help more of our customers, even if it sounded expensive or ridiculous or too focused on one thing or the other. And when we really just sunk into assuming good intent from everybody's contributions, I felt like that was the door opener for trust. And so that was kind of those were the moments, and those are the moments today too, that sometimes we actually remind ourselves, wait, I mean this with the best of intent. And those are the moments we feel most like a team to me.
So a little bit more background to that, if you can. I mean, it's fascinating. What was leading to the moment, right? What was the moment before the moment that gave you the confidence to push that forward? Because that was a big risk for you as the leader to do that.
Yeah, and I was fairly new in that role. It was there's always sort of this natural suspicion, especially when you're running kind of insurance or risk businesses, that the people who are selling stuff are going to do things that that sort of make your product like not work or not profitable, or you sell it to too many of the wrong people. And so there's this natural tension between what I would consider sort of sales and then the more product manufacturing side of the house. And we were having what I would consider is we're probably on meeting 3 of sort of the real issue going on was an underlying mistrust that what the sales leader wanted to do was going to be in the best interest of principal and our customers. And so really what I just did is I called that out. And I asked us to please look at everything coming from, this particular leader as good for principal, as well-intentioned, as well thought out and good for principal. And once we started there, every conversation we had after that was full of better ideas, better attitudes, and honestly, we just made better decisions. When people are kind of half angry and half afraid, we do terrible work. And so it was really my job to take that away.
Well said. Well said. Let's talk higher level about the philosophy or approach you take to the people side of the business. Is there a guiding principle you rely on to do what you do?
Yeah, I have a couple of those, and one of them I've mentioned. I'll kind of say it again, that math is easy and humans are hard. I think we should disproportionately invest in the humans who are doing real work. And so my leadership philosophy is, if you spent 10 hours preparing for something, you should spend at least half that time preparing for how the human beings are going to work together, how real people will react, what story you can tell on top of the numbers to make them compelling. So if you've got 10 hours of work, put 5 into the technical aspects, but put 5 into the human aspects. And that is really, really hard, especially for some functions to do. And people have come back to me and said that it just kind of feels like a waste of time. I, it is not a waste of time to figure out how tell a story. And I think we overplay spreadsheets and we underplay storytelling all the time. So one of my foundational pieces is make sure you've thought about the human reaction to any idea and make sure you're ready to tell a story about why it matters.
Do you teach storytelling inside your organization?
We don't, and we should. We honestly should. When I was in graduate school, I was a teaching assistant for a public speaking course, and you know, I, COM 114, I was the teaching assistant, and I heard so many people give terrible speeches and tell terrible stories for years, and it really cemented for me what a good speech, what a good story, what the components were of something that moved people. And so I wish we would do more that is leaning in on the storytelling piece, and probably less on the true technical pieces of the job. So I think you're bringing up a good point that I could probably do something about.
Well, it was. I mean, I know of no organization that has formal storytelling training for starters. So you're in the majority for sure. We don't do that here at Hierology in our 200 employee company, but I, like you, believe in that very, very strongly. I had the best storytelling advice or training I ever got was from a professional storyteller and speaker, and what she said to me was, anytime you've got to present anything, here's the format. Current state, and it's a little sad, explosion or catalyst, new amazing normal state. And and every time I get up in front of a room or in front of a team, and I think of that, I think of describing the way things are now, and there's some challenges, but this is the data, or this is the opportunity, and wow, look at what's possible, or look what happened as a result. And it's a lot more interesting than 15 PowerPoint slides.
Right. And the ask at the end is join me on this journey.
Exactly right.
Yeah. The ask at the end is let's go do something great together. And I think we miss that all the time.
That's great. So think of that in the context of how you inspire people to join Principal in the organization. I mean, we're in a environment where everyone who wants to work is working for the most part. Your organization, like all, is in a zero-sum battle for the best people in the market. What are you doing from an employment branding standpoint or employee value prop standpoint to say to someone, if it's us versus the other folks, here's why you pick us? I mean, what thought goes into that, and what's your approach?
I would say our approach is evolving over time. I would say it's been amazing to me as I walk outside of Principal, how many people have played back to me that they notice that we have recognition like the #1 place to work for women. I guarantee you more women have noticed that and have looked to come into Principal because of things like that. So #1 is we're building an interesting brand for things like gender diversity. We're building an interesting brand on things like ethics in business, being an ethical company and doing business that way. So I think I see us really leaning into making it an advantage, also being a Midwestern, Des Moines based company. Iowa is still one of the top producers in the nation of really highly skilled college workforce. And so we have a huge amount of private independent colleges, and we also have really great state schools and other higher education institutions in Iowa, and they churn out thousands, tens of thousands of students each year, and Principal has a huge name with them. So these are some of the kids who are going to score the most highly on standardized tests like ACTs and things like that, and they're going to know Principal's brand. So we very disproportionately in the Midwest have a brand and pick up talent for what I would call, closer to entry level type jobs. I think where we really have to keep making sure we have the branding and the recognition is when we need those kind of mid and higher talent positions. And I think leaning back into it's a great place to work, not because, always the answer is we'll pay you the most. It's a great place to work because you can bring your ideas here and we'll help you make them fly. You can do things with us that feel like a journey, not a job.
If you were to come back on this show a year from now and report on whether or not you and your team were able to tackle the single biggest people-related opportunity that you have in front of you or the business, what will you be telling us happened this year?
I'll be saying that I know we're better than we were a year ago. Change is always slower than I want it to be. But if I can say in every 3-month, 6-month, or 12-month increment that we're better than we were, then what I know is 5 years from now will be amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the final word you've been learning from Amy Friedrich, President, the U.S. Insurance Solutions Team at Principal Financial Group. Amy, thank you for being with us on the program today.
Thank you, Adam.
That's a wrap for this week's episode of the Best Team Wins podcast, where we're featuring business leaders whose exceptional approach to the people side of their business has led to incredible results. My name is Adam Robinson, author of the book, The Best Team Wins, which you can find online at www.thebestteamwins.com. As always, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you here next week.
Thanks for listening to the Best Team Wins podcast with Adam Robinson. You can find out more information about Adam and his book, The Best Team Wins, Building Your Business Through Predictive Hiring, at thebestteamwins.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.